Okay, bad. Oh, buddy said he sent that document to your DM.
Okay, I'll look at it when we get done. What's the best method of tapping into my Akashic records? So first, before you can tap into your Akashic, which gives you past life information, you got to learn how to read your present life. So you go over your life and you review your struggles, what you learned, and why would Big Mama have you learn that is the question that you following when you're doing this research or this life review. If you don't wait till you dead to flash your life in front of your eyes, you can see clearly your mistakes and your recoveries, and then you'll know what you've been trained to do.
Yeah, that's wild. So basically, you need to have a near-death experience before you.
It don't have to. It's
no, I'm just
yeah, but it goes back to the proverb. It say, "He who dies yet lives finds eternal life." Right. That's the death of the ego. And the death of the ego purifies the self for the higher self to assume the position that was previously occupied by the ego. Can you read the rest of that question? I can't see the whole thing.
Yeah, I got you. It's like it's one big movie Hollywood premiere. One big Hollywood movie premiere. That's the end of the question. Yeah, ain't really a question.
Why have this whole show of having Biden the play president? What else?
Or Trump has always been the main man in charge. Why have this whole show of having Biden to play president, or Trump has always been the main man in charge?
It's a show. It's a shit show. It's done sloppily on purpose to show you that it's a show. So what the purpose is to cajole people into using their brain, making you think outside the box you in. By showing you the blatant contradictions and plain clear view, and you don't pick up on it, you really asleep still. Right? It's so much information on social media with old and new pictures of Joe Biden where you can just is not the same motherfucker.
Clearly not. Ears, right. Nose.
It's about in total it might be about 20 different Joe Bidens over the years.
You seen that one they had walking through the airport with his own stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, somebody said biggest hoax of all time. Facts.
Yep. Now our job is to basically pull the curtain off the band behind the curtain.
Wizard of Oz.
Right? Yeah, Wizard of Oz shit. And the yellow brick road is all paved with our gold. But where is they going? To the Emerald City, right?
Right.
The Crystal City. The Crystal City is to land on Emerald Lake in Colorado.
Yo, so I'm aware that these movies are really telling us the truth. So Avatar, right? You mentioned it earlier, get one of them old maps. For whatever reason, when they was in that war room and they were showing like the scale of the land and they were showing like the big tree, it was like a holographic presentation where they were showing the scale of the land that they were trying to, and they were showing where all the deposits were for the resources they were trying to steal. Under the big tree, they literally left a trail to show you how far away from DC the actual big tree was that they never wanted us to get back to. So that's crazy. They don't want us to get back to, like you said, the Emerald Lake or wherever, to where we now have the rights to our land.
They can't stop us because Big Mama told me to find the problem and show it to y'all. And that's why I take the time and try to explain as clear as possible what I'm seeing. Then with the references, telling you the names, the people, right? So one of the most important lectures that most of us missed was that Taj Reawakening Minds last week, Friday. The Unum Sanctum in the I think it was tax, something like the tax wars.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was a very, very important message for us. And a lot of us haven't looked at it. We don't know about it. But the message is so important that we need to all be sharing it and making sure that other people is watching, listening to what he say. Now, the rule is this: if you don't understand what he's saying, because he's using a lot of legalese, break down what he's saying bit by bit until you understand it clearly. When you understand it clearly, you're going to clearly see what he is telling you is how we supposed to respond to the end. Now the contract is up. His civics takes the next level. It goes from teaching you what civics is to now how to implement your jurisdiction using the civics outline. Right? Because now we no longer under the contract. He don't have to teach us how to navigate the contract. Remember I said Noble Ali was doing two things at the same time. He was showing us how to overthrow the jurisdiction, but he was also teaching us how to navigate the contract until the time comes where we know how to run government. Now we can run this shit out the government. We know how to run this shit now. Because all we got to do is put the power where it's supposed to be. Every mayor is supposed to be a woman. That's why the position is called mayor. Mayor is a female horse. It's the town mothers that's called mayors.
Yeah, so they flipped it and took our matriarchal society and flipped it to a patriarchal.
Everywhere where the women had power, they put me in there.
And I know you go over this question a lot. You answer this a lot. Why is the music industry how it is today? But if you want to drop it for, you can.
Go ahead with the rest of it. It's drugs, what?
Oh, drugs, killing, etc. Oh, it ain't showing you the whole questions?
So the music industry is how it is today because it was created by the same people that was overthrowing our system, that was occupying our land. When you go back, it's a movie on YouTube about the origins of Hollywood. You'll see the double head Scottish Rite flag being marched down Hollywood streets when it was a dirt road.
Word.
Because they the ones who created Hollywood. Hollywood is a mass mind control mechanism.
For sure. The holly tree is like that's what they use for wands. So they just cast spells. They casting spells all day.
That big old castle that used to be Disney, that was what we called the big house. That shit wasn't built in no 1900s. Nobody used that construction style in the 1900s. That's what we call it in modern times, old Gothic construction. They don't use that. They haven't used that construction style at least since the 1000 AD mark. So the castle of Disneyland had to be there at the soonest it could have been built is around the year 1000 AD. So it's at least 1,000 years old. We all left the big house to come fight the Seminole Wars. That's why it was empty when they got there.
Wow.
Most of us don't know. I did a whole video showing the castles on the land. Proper context, that's a good thing. When you misuse, that means taking advantage of and putting the position out of context, that's a bad thing. So understand, oh yeah, Vernon Johns was the truth. And he was actually my mama's cousin. He was my mama's cousin too. Well, it was Becky, my cousin too. But they was related on her father's side, the Johns. My mother's last name was Johns all the way up until she married my father. Right. So that gave me a special interest in his case. Matter of fact, for those who want to know who he is, James Earl Jones played him in the movie about Vernon John. But I knew about him before I seen the movie. But I seen the movie years after it was made too. But I had learned about him studying Martin. I wanted to know what happened to the guy that preceded him. We just disappeared. They kicked him out of the church because he was too militant. So then he started, we might be, sweetie. We traced back to Louisiana, right? The Johns, my grandfather, Hezekiah from he from Macomb, Mississippi. That was his territory, and they divided his land up. Get out of here, Beulah. That was Aunt B. That was my mama's stepmother. So apparently we cousins on our motherfucker. So you're gonna have to inbox me so we can put this shit all the way together. Cause Miss B was Aunt Betty's mother. Yep. So anyway, I'm gonna go back into this. So once we get into the 70s, Panthers moving now, right? This is when they start infiltrating what we call gangs. We was tribing up in the late 50s. My mother was what you call a outlaw vice lord biker on the west side of Chicago. This was before you had all of these spin-off groups. So they instituted a cultural thing that we do. It's called a razzle-dazzle or a flea flicker in football. It's the same thing. Everybody got the ball. We in the huddle. Now scatter. We don't know who got the ball, but one of these niggas got the ball. So my mama sent cousins and sisters to California. She kept some in Chicago. She sent some stayed in Mississippi and Louisiana. Then she ended up moving to Michigan with my father. So this was to keep her sons out of the fray in the fight for power. Because there is no fight for power when we hear. We know where the power goes. We just gonna put it in the right place. If you make something work the way it's supposed to work, it'll last longer and work better than if you use it for something it wasn't meant for. You say your whole family from Macomb? Shit. That's a good chance we related. So there's a tribe of Mississippians called Shoshone. Too Short is tied to that tribe, and the tribal chief actually was my first girlfriend's father named Sonny Shaw. He was the chief, but he was here. Anyway, the Shaw clan is Shoshone, indigenous Americans. And the Washington family is the Washita. It's the same name changed to fit the English language. So if your last name is Washington, you're a Washita who is named after George Washington for conquering the Washita or Wichita. Wichita, Kansas was a stronghold, right? So now we starting to get to the Hall of Records. Now we starting to get to the Halls of Records. Once we get to the Hall of Records, they can't, that's it. So the records is kept. It's just, are we wise enough to get the records back? Leonard mean lion. My uncle named Leonard too, by the way. Oh, the Sparks. Yeah. So we got the Sparks up here. Sister Sparks and Brother Sparks, they got officers as they offspring up here in Pontiac. So the Sparks family come from down there. They Brother Sparks was a dog man. He was teaching me some dog stuff. Okay, so you want to know how to get the records. First of all, you got to know where the records at. The records is in the mountain. And the records is not just records, they what you call your trust documents. And this is where our money at. You have to be agreed to publicly declare ownership of the records as a tribal grid on the land. You have to have what you call historical works to verify your position. Dane Calloway, Malachi York have those indigenous works where they can say, I'm the grid on the land, and this is where our records is in just outside of Kansas City, Kansas. Right? So I talked about it on a Zoom call the other day. But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to try to figure out how to post clips from it so y'all know exactly where the records is to the trust. When you get the records to the trust, is the records to the money. Because all of our wealth is held in the trust. And the trust is owned by the Catholic Church by papal bulls. When you understand which papal bulls, which I already went through that, but the papal bulls is what kept us separated from our family's wealth, what we call the royal coffers. The royal coffers is all this shit you seen in the museum that they said from Mexico and Egypt and Tibet. That's our shit. But the Catholic Church said we was imbeciles and non-functional chieftains, and therefore we did not have the ability to hold our own wealth. So they put us on an allowance plan, right? When they put us on the allowance plan, then we had to earn an allowance by working under a slave system until Master gave us a check at the end of the week. We never did that. In the indigenous land, every job was per diem, by the day or by the job. This job paid $400. When you're done, I'm going to give you $400, period. Or if it wasn't that way, it was, if you work with me today, I'm going to give you $400 for today's labor. Whatever we do, don't matter. At the end of the day, when you go home, I'm going to give you $400. No credits. Credit and debt is how they trapped us in slavery. Right? And they only did it using a penal system code of token and reward. What we think is money is not money. It's fiat, which means it's something somebody said had value, but it has no value. So Jones is also Johns, and the Johns, they are kindred clans. Jones and Johns is the same last name in the indigenous language. It's just split in English to tell you that y'all two different people. It's also Jonas, Jonas, and by blood linkage, you are Johnsons, right? The sons of John, and Jones sons, which is the sons of Joneses, and all of these names. Our culture is tied up in the last names because they couldn't just take it, right? The last name I got from my father, Hayes, is really a short form of Hayoka. And it's pronounced in the indigenous tongue as Haya. So when you hear them dancing around the fire saying, hey, hey, they calling for the Hayoka priests. Right? But they can't call for a Hayoka priest unless they call for him a counterpart. Right? So now you were seeing why they were saying it's a voodoo song Oh yeah, yemaya, oh yeah, yemaya. It's the old songs. It's all of our shit. The tailors were the families that made clothes. There was a whole priesthood of tailors. They was literally tailors. That's what they did as a profession. The Brown clan originate in what you call the Northwest Territory in the Ohio Valley. That's why the Native American Cleveland is named after his name Cleveland Browns is because they are Ohio tribe from the Northwest Territories. The cannons were part of a military contingent who literally controlled the cannons. Now the cannons in Chicago are a group of boosters, or what we would call them in Eurocentric, they thieves, but they only steal high-end shit, like cars and boats and shit. But the cannons don't play. Them the wrong motherfuckers to fuck with. And yep, I got people in Yazoo, Mississippi. Oh, John Sally know what's up. He know what's up with the fam. I didn't see him talk about it before. He know he one of us. Same as Isaiah Thomas. He keep telling these motherfuckers